This is the greatest question that we're going to be having for the entire WWE universe until it happens. Who is going to be John Cena's final opponent when he retires? Hello, everybody. My name is Sancho West, and this is Sancho West Wrestling. If you love wrestling, please consider subbing to the channel. My goal is to get to 100,000 subs so I can get on my own thumbnail for my podcast, Wrestling is Cool. Yes. It has been confirmed, according to reports, that NBC has said that John Cena's retirement match will take place on Saturday night's main event on December 13th, 2025. And so now the entire WWE universe is asking, is he going to put somebody over? Is he going to get an old school rival? Let's go ahead and do the classic breakdown here on Sancho West Wrestling, where we go through the entire roster to figure out who is going to be that final opponent. Let's start with AJ Styles. AJ Styles falls into the variety of camps that we have here for all these opponents. And AJ's camp is not going to benefit from beating John Cena, considering they're on the way out. Sure, it'll be a fun match and it'll be a great callback to the Royal Rumble that they had, but AJ Styles versus John Cena, that's not going to move the needle in terms of Saturday night's main event. Granted, I would love for AJ Styles and John Cena to cross swords before it's all said and done in a slight little fun detour. I'm hoping that John Cena has like a rogue gallery of opponents, and I hope AJ is part of that. Austin Theory is interesting. I'm going to put Austin Theory in no way. The way, considering that Triple H has been booking Austin Theory, I just don't see it happening at all. Yes, Austin Theory is currently dealing with an injury, but Austin Theory has to shed Grayson Waller first. He has to get through, probably deal with New Day first. And I just don't see this. Even in the rogue gallery of opponents, Austin Theory definitely destroyed John Cena at WrestleMania and beat him in front of Make-A-Wish kids, but that's just not going to happen. We're not going to see the run back. And unfortunately for the Austin Theory fans, we're not going to see John Cena versus Austin Theory. Now, the Vision poses an interesting issue here. The Vision could be a last opponent. Any one of these three could be that, but let's start with Big Bronson Reed. I think Big Bronson Reed would be a fun match to have. Big Bronson Reed is known to put on the tsunamis. Does he steals John Cena's wrestling boots? We don't get that final goodbye because Big Bronson Reed as a heel stole the wrestling boots, so John Cena can't leave the boots in the floor. That would be interesting, but I just think that Big Bronson Reed is already growing his own kind of fever pitch momentum doing these other things like stealing Roman Reigns, and I just feel like Big Bronson Reed wouldn't really benefit beating John Cena. And who wants to see John Cena tsunami to oblivion in his last ride? Now, Bronbreaker is a different thing. I think Bronbreaker would be best. Bronbreaker would definitely benefit beating John Cena, and I think Bronbreaker with Paul Heyman in his corner would definitely have that vibe that we feel that Bronbreaker is the next big thing. We already feel that Bronbreaker is the next big thing, and why not solidify that by beating John Cena? And I do feel that this would be a great catalyst for kind of like deflecting or usurping, whatever you want to call it, Seth Rollins and the Vision. They say, hey, I don't need to listen to you anymore, Seth. I beat John Cena, and that could start that program going forward. Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is usually interesting. I usually have a safe thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch wild card into safe, and we're going to put this as a wild card. There we go. That feels better. Having Seth Rollins be his final opponent will be a mad safe pick. Yes, Seth Rollins is the current workhorse of the WWE. Seth Rollins has some of the biggest moments in WWE history with the Heist of the Century and the I guess I'm going to call it the Ruse of the Century. I was going to say the Fleece of the Century, but Seth Rollins could be a solid pick. The thing about Seth Rollins is it's interesting. They've been like, the angle of Seth Rollins lately is that he's worn down, beaten down. And I don't know. I mean, this would be the thing where John Cena would have to save the WWE to beat Seth Rollins. And maybe if you want to leave on a high note, you could beat Seth Rollins. But Seth Rollins doesn't really need a John Cena victory unless he wants to solidify himself as a top heel in the business. So it's a safe pick, but it's not a fun pick for me. Carmella Hayes. Now, Carmella Hayes, I think would be I want to put Carmella Hayes as a dream. Now, not necessarily as a dream match, but it would be a dream for the WWE to put Carmella Hayes in this place. The more I think about it, the more is possibility, considering that the Saturday night's main event will be in Boston. Also, Carmella Hayes is from the Massachusetts. He's from Boston. So to have two Massachusetts people, try saying that really fast, going like head to head, and then like Carmella Hayes taking the mantle, passing the torch to Carmella Hayes in some sort of way to represent the area of Massachusetts, I think that would work really well for Carmella Hayes. And for John Cena, is like, you want some, come get some. And then Carmella comes out and says, I am him, I don't miss, I want that. And Carmella Hayes already challenged Cody Rhodes when he first joined the main roster. So this is not would be out of place for Carmella to rise to the occasion. And I think John Cena versus Carmella Hayes could actually put on a really good match. John Cena working a little bit bigger than he's used to and throwing around Carmella Hayes, I think would work really well. And wow, what a big boost to Carmella Hayes' career to be the one that is essentially retired John Cena. Now, there's a lot of people that would say, like, you can't have a young person like a Trick Williams, like a Carmella Hayes, retire John Cena, considering the kind of the brunt of the burden of being the one to retire John Cena. But I don't really feel that. I know that that could be a case, that could be one of the scenarios that could all fall into, but I never feel that Baron Corbin's the one that retired Kurt Angle. The main difference between Kurt Angle's retirement and Baron Corbin and John Cena and Carmella Hayes, I would say, is the platform, the spotlight. It's definitely bigger here, considering it's that Saturday Night Main Event, and we've all been leading up to these final moments. Remember, at the time of this recording, we have about 11 appearances left for John Cena. CM Punk, now they've already said that CM Punk is somebody that they were not going to revisit again. I'm still going to consider this as a best feud or a best final match for John Cena. This is one of those ones, if you were in that camp that a young guy can't retire John Cena, I think CM Punk would be a fitting guy to retire John Cena, considering that's one of his best feuds, his best adversary. It reminds me of Batman and the Joker type of thing, Lex Luthor versus Superman. These are the greatest rivals, I would say, of John Cena, and CM Punk is definitely up there. And to have him beat John Cena would do great for CM Punk, but is not going to last. It's not like as bad as an AJ Styles situation. I think CM Punk does have more years in the tank compared to AJ, but CM Punk beating John Cena, you got to have a title for that. There has to be something on the line for John Cena to go up against and CM Punk to meet at that apex of the mountain and to have a big celebratory moment for CM Punk for finally defeating his foe. And I think it'd be a very touching moment if you have an opponent like CM Punk in the ring to kind of tip his hat. Think of Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Think of Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. Those type of moments where you're like, tip of the hat, Cowboys in the Wild West type of vibe. Cody Rhodes. Now, I think Cody Rhodes would be a safe pick. I don't think it's going to be a dream match type of situation. I think we got the best match that we could probably get out of Cody Rhodes and John Cena. So I don't think they're going to try to overcome or top SummerSlam Night 2. I don't see that. They did a great job. I think they had everything that you could want out of that match, and since WWE books for moments, I don't think you could top that moment in any kind of way. So if all of a sudden the NBC network or WWE felt like there was too much pressure to give it to a young guy, maybe the CM Punk's involved with somebody else, maybe they don't see Bronbreaker as being ready for this moment, which I would, of course, a lot of us would disagree, Cody Rhodes would be the safe pick. Let's go to Damian Priest, Wepa. Ah, man. As much as I love Damian Priest, I'm going to just respectfully put it in no way. The Wepa King, the Street King, could definitely be a solid opponent for John Cena, but I don't see that at this moment. I don't see that for the end. Along the way, sure, Damian Priest's character is kind of directionalist. I think the most that he does right now is that he challenges people and he just gets beaten up, right? And then all of a sudden he comes back and he wins the feud at the end. And I don't think they have that program ready for John Cena. You would have to have multiple matches to make Damian Priest make sense to beat John Cena, considering that has been the logic booking for Damian Priest lately. Get beaten up, get your comeuppance at the end, and people wonder, did you make any progress, Damian? I don't think so. Dirty Dominik Mysterio. I'm going to put this in the best category. Dirty Dom has a prime spot here. Considering if Dominik Mysterio carries the IC title up to this point, John Cena versus Dominik Mysterio, that'd be great considering John Cena hasn't had the IC title. This would be the one to solidify his greatness. And at the same time, if Dirty Dom is able to beat John Cena, it will solidify him as that Eddie Guerrero type. If he continues to beat people like he did AJ Styles at SummerSlam, this will work really well for Dom. And I don't think anybody would be upset that if Dominik Mysterio is the one to retire John Cena. And at the same time, he is a veteran of 20 plus years. And at the same time, Dominik Mysterio is the future. He's a young champion, and at the same time, I would say a top prospect to be the heavyweight title and definitely a sleeper hit for the Undisputed. I would love to see a Dominik Mysterio reign as a big world champion, and John Cena could be that catalyst to get him up to that level, to put him in that prestige level. And he's the son of Rey Mysterio. I think it will work really well, and I think Dirty Dom is one of the best picks. Drew McIntyre. I was going to put again, Drew McIntyre is one of the best picks. If you want to establish a top heel in the business, and Drew McIntyre could have some great promos against John Cena, and we could see Drew McIntyre unleash, and I want to see John Cena unleash, and I don't think John Cena could fully roast Drew McIntyre. I'm sure he could put him in some bad spots and some promos, but I don't think John Cena could bury Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre is one of the people that we want for. He's one of like us, so to speak. He's an internet troll, but at the same time, we respect his grind, we respect his hard work, we respect him being number one in the Thunderdome, we respect him putting over people, having the belt for 5 minutes to put over Damian Priest. We sympathize with Drew McIntyre. We see the logic behind his heel turn, and I think we wouldn't really turn so hard against a Drew McIntyre against a John Cena. We would be like, dude, we're happy for Drew, for him to be put in this spot, and once again, him beating John Cena would be a big medal for Drew McIntyre. Now, Ethan Page, I'm going to put in the dream scenario here. Ethan Page would be a green, like not a green in terms of quality or quality of the wrestler, just in terms of where he is on the main roster. He's not on the main roster yet, but this would be a huge way to make an impression on the main roster. Ethan Page, John Cena, we don't know. There's a lot of question marks, right? Whereas when we had with Drew McIntyre, we kind of know where the promo's going to go. With Ethan Page, who knows? I think Ethan Page could either be buried completely by the golden shovel, or he could propel himself to a new height and vault over a lot of the mid-card into the main event scene quickly on the main roster. We know he could cut a great promo in NXT, but can he handle the pressure of the spotlight against a John Cena? That is going to be up. That's going to be like the biggest question mark. And if the WWE will pull the trigger on Ethan Page, there'll be a lot of confidence having to be the one to retire John Cena. And Ethan Page's heel character will never shut up about it. So it'd be a great benefit for him in that way. Finn Balor. Look, dude, I like Finn Balor. I'm going to consider Finn Balor a wild card. If Finn Balor and the Judgment Day get to the point where they are just running roughshod over the WWE and John Cena needs to be the one to stop them, I like the prospect of John Cena kind of having these moments and saves against the Judgment Day, against JD McDonough, Dominik Mysterio, Finn Balor. This would have been almost a no-brainer if Finn Balor never got hurt when he became Universal Champion, but when he got hurt and all this travesty that happened in terms of just getting pinned all the time, being the foil for Judgment Day during the Senior Money in the Bank days of Damian Priest, Finn Balor has a lot of stock that he is basically needs to regain here, and he's slowly doing that. I mean, his appearance at Triple Mania was strong. The Demonito thing was fun. If he returns as Demon Balor, I mean, maybe that would be an opportunity for John Cena and Finn Balor to go at it, but I still want them to have this match at some point out of the 10 appearances. Gunther. I'm gonna put Gunther as a safe pick. I think it's not the best one because, as you can see, the four above him I feel like are stronger than Gunther. Gunther versus John Cena, no doubt, would be exciting, but I feel like Gunther has already made his bang on Saturday Night's Main Event, considering he went against Goldberg. I mean, that could be an angle, but you can't have Gunther retire Goldberg and John Cena. That'd be wild. Now I didn't even think about that. That would be wild for him to do that, but once again, I consider this the same thing as the Cody Rhodes situation. If they exhausted all paths or they don't see any paths that could go beyond, then they would, of course, feed Gunther and John Cena to us, and we would again go, all right, John, you're going to go up against a beast in Gunther, but considering that CM Punk beat Gunther, it wouldn't feel like a big feat for John Cena to do so, and if Gunther beats Cena, that'd be wild again, that he retired two, arguably some of the best of all time. Jacob Fatu. I'm going to put Jacob Fatu in the best category. This is one of those ones that everyone puts a lot of stock into Jacob Fatu being a main eventer, Jacob Fatu being an undisputed champion, and having John Cena as one of the notches on your belt would be huge for Jacob Fatu. I think the match itself would be very dynamic. Just to see Jacob Fatu fly around the ring, going up against Super Cena, I think that'd be awesome. It'd be almost like a mini Doomsday, not necessarily like Brock Lesnar, but Jacob Fatu versus John Cena, that's one of those matches that when you heard about John Cena's retirement year, you're like, dog, you have to stop somewhere in Jacob Fatu's neighborhood, right? That has to be a stop. We need to see this match. But I don't know. I feel that sometimes Bloodline members versus John Cena may not mix well. And you look at Solo Sikoa, things like that. Now, considering that I think John Cena's never been beaten Roman Reigns, that could be a prospect as well. But I think people want to see Jacob Fatu. Do they want to see it as the finals? Not sure. Comment down below and let me know. Penta will be a dream, Papa. See Romero go up against good old John Cena. I think that this would be fun. It would be a dream match for me. Yes, as well, I got rid of the fun category, but this would be a dream match. This would be cool to see Penta. What a huge send-off would be for Penta to be one of John Cena's last opponent. But it's a dream. I mean, you're gonna wake up and be like, I thought we almost had this opportunity. This would be wild. But yeah, I think the styles would clash very well here. And if Penta, dude, you'd be like, yeah, dude, I'm all in on Penta. And if they wanted to establish Penta as the next luchador to carry the WWE to a new era once Rey Mysterio retires, let's do it with Penta. But I do see Penta retiring Rey Mysterio, of course. Ricky Starks. I'm going to put Ricky Starks in the dream situation. It feels like Ricky Starks is a long ways to making the main roster. If Ricky Starks was appearing more in the main roster, then I would say, yeah, put Ricky in there, or Ricky Saints. I think that's going to be one of those situations that would be a dream. It's not as heavy as a Penta or Ethan Page, but it's just one of those things like, oh, okay, cool. Ricky's going to get this opportunity. And I think Ricky could go far with it, but it just seems like the way where he's at in NXT, and it feels like has a lot of work there. I don't see it happening here. We're Saturday night's main event. Sami Zayn. I'm going to pitch Sami Zayn as a wild card. Sami Zayn lately has been getting a lot of momentum, a scary momentum. On my Instagram, his matches are reaching 1 million views, and that's insane. And I'm like, this Sami push is insane. It's happening, it's surging from the crowd. It's surging on social media. And if the WWE want to capture something and they want to put Sami Zayn on the forefront and start pushing him in the main event, and considering that he's always been questioning himself, he's always been seen as the underdog, John Cena could be this kind of beacon of hope, or tell him like, hey man, I know you've been seeing yourself as an underdog this entire time. Well, now if you beat me, you're the top dog. Hell if I know, right? That could work for Sami Zayn, and that will give at least credibility. The only stigma against Sami Zayn is people are getting fatigued from him, considering that he is just unbeatable at this point. He has a lot of plot armor, and so if he does beat John Cena, that's going to be wild. And the build up to it is basically going to be Sami's the underdog, and we might get fatigued of that story as well. I do see Sami Zayn becoming a heavyweight champion very soon, but I don't see it using the John Cena route. Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy. I'm gonna put this as a wild card. It's not necessarily a dream. It's a little bit of reality for me when it comes to Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six. This would be really great, actually. This could suck up at least 3 appearances, the build for the Wyatt Six. I would like this. I really do feel like this would be one of those moments where you could have everything come to full circle. And this is perfect. I've been saying countless times on the podcast, and Wrestling is Cool, that we need to have some sort of something reference to what Bray Wyatt was saying, that John Cena has the whole world in his hand. And if Uncle Howdy could rehash those vibes, dig that back up again, and John Cena could start questioning the finality of his career and have Uncle Howdy be the vehicle or the catalyst for all those thoughts, I think it'd be great. And I think it'd be a great, sweet homage to Bray Wyatt's days. So I'm going to put that as a wild card. Roman Reigns. I want to put this in a safe. It is not the best. And it's the same thing for AJ Styles. There's really no benefit for Roman Reigns to retire John Cena. He literally retired Undertaker. Well, not technically. That was AJ Styles in the Boneyard. Anyway, he retired Undertaker. So I don't think the WWE would make him retire John Cena as well. And considering that Roman Reigns is an ultimate part-timer, there's not going to be no follow-up to it. And I don't think the tribal chief would care that he retired John Cena as much, say, a Drew McIntyre or even a CM Punk would care. If Roman Reigns was more active on the roster, if Roman Reigns was the guy that was around, the workhorse like a Seth Rollins, I would see this match more as best. But considering that the tribal chief is on tribal chief schedule, that's not going to be the thing that's going to make it the best. It will just be a safe pick to just have the biggest name in terms of aura, Roman Reigns, going up against the biggest name of the past, John Cena. Think again like Icon versus Icon, or The Rock versus John Cena. Roman Reigns would serve as a surrogate Rock for that match. Speaking of The Rock, boy, oh boy, I'm going to put this as a wild card. It's going to be a wild card for a match to see The Rock and John Cena again. The only way I see this, the only way, before you groan like, oh, The Rock, Sancho, he wouldn't benefit from the rub. It's The Rock. He's not even there. You said Roman's a part-timer. The Rock's not even there. They could only do this if they were going to build to The Rock and Roman Reigns. If John Cena loses to The Rock, The Rock comes back, it's like, see, I beat John Cena. I'm the one that's the overlord of this world. I'm the final boss. And if Roman Reigns steps up, then we're off to the races for Roman Reigns and The Rock. But I think a lot of people would hate, in sense, story-wise, that The Rock is to be the one that retires him. There is a lot of references of The Rock owning him. It would at least be a payoff to the final boss in the heel turn of John Cena. We dropped that storyline completely. The Rock said John Cena said 5 months wasted. Now I'm a solo on loan. If The Rock came back, the promos would be magical. And of course, NBC would want The Rock and John Cena. There'd be the third match. So I would only see it if they want to build up to Rock and Roman. I don't like it, and that's why I put it as a wild card. Randy Orton, I would say, is a dream. Is the best dream, so to speak. Best dream scenario here. I put him in the same kind of category of CM Punk, a familiar foe, a rogue, the gallery rogue, or whatever, Batman. I'm butchering that right now. The rogue gallery of his foes. I think that would be a fine match. Randy would have to turn heel. Randy would have to Punk kick a lot of people. The most deadliest letters in the WWE. RKO, sure. We got a taste of it, but it wasn't what we wanted, right? It was a bizarre world where Randy was the face and John Cena was the heel, but it still was a banger of a match, a little bit overproduced, but still was a great match. And I like the ring psychology, and I would love to see Super Cena go up against the super villainous Randy Orton, the Viper, the Legend Killer. And what a fitting way for the heel Randy Orton to be the Legend Killer and destroy John Cena, the Legend. It's like, it kind of reminds me of those Wild Westerns where you send your top vanilla hero to go up against the most deadliest gunslinger in the West, and they put him away, right? And that's it. The guy who's retired, and he's done. And what a way to go out for the best hand in the West. Logan Paul. I think I'm going to put Logan Paul. Logan Paul would be a wild card. And it's a wild card because Logan does have a lot of prospect. He has a lot of ceiling still. He has a lot of time in his career. I think Logan and Cena are kind of building an angle a little bit. Of course, they're going to have their match right now in Clash, and we have no idea where that's going to go. But Logan Paul, if some crazy shenanigans happen in Paris, and that needs to be paid off again later, maybe. I think the WWE fandom would hate it for sure, considering it is literally John Cena going to go up against a quote-unquote outsider. But Logan Paul, he could be around for another 10, 15 years, and that's somebody that we could definitely see benefit from beating John Cena. I don't think he's going to beat him at Clash. If he does beat him at Clash, John Cena has to get his run back somehow. NBC show, John Cena versus Logan Paul, doesn't hit as hard as I think. The Miz. Oh, man. The Miz would be a guy that he would visit alongside The Way. I'm going to put it in No Way right now. The Miz is just something that, brother, he is right now on the tag team. He is a great heel. It blows my mind that he went from one of the greatest shoot promos I've ever seen on Talking Smack where, you see this belt, Daniel? You see this belt, Daniel? I care about this IC belt. Dude, banger of a promo. Just, it's The Miz, right? But, it's a worthy thing to revisit. Last time we saw The Miz and John Cena together, they were tag teaming in a 3-man with R-Truth, and it felt weird to see those once foes, now friends, but it's not the same as quality as CM Punk and Randy, and that's just because where The Miz is right now. Trick Williams. I'm going to put Trick Williams in the same situation as these three. Carmella Hayes, Trick Williams, and Ethan Page are dreams, right? This is the thing where if Trick Williams could beat John Cena, that'd be huge for Trick Williams. It'd be a huge burden, that's for sure. Like we've been echoing these same things for these three and anyone in this category. But Trick Williams has the look. He definitely has the physique. And he's been getting a lot of great reps in as TNA champion. And for the TNA champion to beat John Cena, or the former TNA champion, I'm assuming he would have the belt at the time. But if he was a TNA champion, and if they wanted to solidify this relationship, the possible rumor of TKO buying TNA and to kind of make that moment more monumental by having the TNA champion beat John Cena on WWE Saturday's Main Event, we're talking about a dream scenario of dream scenarios. Jey Uso. I want to put Jey Uso in the wild card. I think Jey Uso already has a rocket strapped to him by beating him at the Royal Rumble. I think that would be the only thing you could kind of latch onto, is that Jey Uso did push John Cena out of the ring to get his first win at the Royal Rumble, and John Cena kind of went a little bit of heel. That was that final push to send him down the heel path. But I think that John Cena, Jey Uso, is just not there. If John Cena was a heel, maybe. But to see Super Cena going up against a Super Jey Uso is not attractive. I can't even think of another DC or superhero comparison of Superman versus blank, right? It would be like a street tier type of hero going up against Superman. You're like, of course Superman's going to win. I don't know. You tell me who you can see Jey Uso and John Cena being in the superhero verse. Rusev. Man, if I still had that fun category, I would put Rusev in it because I would just love to see it. I want to make this a dream match. Can Rusev benefit from John Cena? Maybe, sure, yeah, but I don't see the WWE putting the rocket on Rusev to making the top heel in the business because, again, if a heel beats John Cena, he's the top in the business. If John Cena beats Rusev, that means Rusev has to rise to the top heel in the business to make it matter on Saturday Night's main event. This is a banger Monday Night Raw match, though. Revisit this. Make me happy by putting John Cena and Rusev. Let's take a look at LA Knight. Yeah. Oh, man. It's not even a safe pick, dude. It's not even the best. It's a wild card. It's definitely a wild card. The only linchpin that you could have for John Cena versus LA Knight was that LA Knight kind of disregarded his handshake and his raising in the hand. They had words. I mean, they were an interesting pairing as tag teams at LA Knight and John Cena way back when, but I don't know, man. It feels like it's one of those that LA Knight's ego is too big to play ball with John Cena, it feels like. And I'm only basing that on the character of LA Knight not accepting his rub that we had there on that SmackDown. But I don't know, man. It's one of those things that's like, I don't never see LA Knight being handed the ball by the WWE. And why then and why at that moment, December 13th, that John Cena versus LA Knight, they hand the ball to LA Knight as to say, like, you're the guy. And considering his age as well, it just wouldn't make sense to use up the John Cena ticket on this last ride and going up against LA Knight. Solo Sikoa. Wah, 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 wah. I'm going to put Solo as a safe pick, just for reasons that he has a faction. John Cena could work against the faction. John Cena could destroy the faction. John Cena could get beat up by the faction. It'd be an easy way to build it, but it's Solo Sikoa, right? Solo Sikoa doesn't have that same pizzazz, that same name. And Solo Sikoa is currently United States champion, sure, but he's being booked very, very weak without this. Basically, if he had no MFT, he'd be a jobber at this point. But Solo Sikoa would make the promos fun. John Cena's retiring, that type of fun. It'd be fun, but I would consider it a safe pick because we'd be like, oh, okay, he's going up against the MFTs. It's John Cena versus the MFT. Next pick, Kevin Owens. I won't put Kevin Owens in the dream. I don't think he's going to come back at any point. But imagine if John Cena says, hey, this is my next Saturday night, like on the go home on Friday night, he's like, this next opponent and I'm going to face, and Kevin Owens comes out, we would get that pop like, oh, right, it's Kevin Owens. Or even if they save the pop for Saturday night main event, Kevin Owens could definitely benefit from all this entire thing. He was in the main event picture going up against Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton and Sami Zayn and all those kind of things. And him beating John Cena would be a great callback to the NXT Open Challenge that they had against the United States champion of John Cena. It'd be cool, man. It'd be a cool, again, circle moment for the entire thing. And it'd be really cool to see Kevin Owens back. But neck surgery and all those kinds of things, too many question marks. I doubt he'd be back by the time we get to December. Let's take a look at Rey Mysterio. Respectfully, I don't think we're going to get a no-way type of situation. This is not even a wild card. Rey Mysterio himself has been injured and he's been out for a long time. Rey Mysterio missed out on Mania. I don't see Rey being John Cena's final opponent unless they wanted to build Dom in some sort of way, or Dom interferes, or I don't know. But Rey doesn't need John. John doesn't need Rey. We don't need to see this. I'm going to respect. I mean, it could be a good callback because Rey Mysterio was champion and then literally John Cena challenged him and he lost his belt the same night. I don't remember. That could be a fun thing to revisit. But I respectfully no. R-Truth. Let's see where R-Truth is. I'm going to put R-Truth. And don't forget, at the end, we're going to pick who I think is the ultimate opponent. R-Truth would be... I want to put in no way. I think the ship has sailed, right? When R-Truth is... And then John Cena had that moment, and John Cena basically gaslit R-Truth, saying like, hey, why'd you change? It was a big joke. You've been acting weird for these 5 months, and you cut your hair? I don't think they're going to have anything. And now I do hope they do a fun tag team to kind of solidify that bond, to be like, my bad. And I think John Cena versus and R-Truth versus somebody else. That would be cool if they were going to do the build up to the final match and it was John Cena, R-Truth versus an X person. Sure. Sheamus. Sheamus, I mean, maybe. It's like too many factors would have to happen, right? Sheamus has to be an intercontinental holder, and John Cena would want that belt, and maybe, but the match wouldn't be pretty. The match wouldn't have that sizzle, right? The headline, the marquee wouldn't be as nice. I mean, Sheamus is a former champion for sure, longtime veteran for sure, but you could put on a banger match with John Cena Saturday Night's Main Event, but that banger of a match wouldn't benefit anybody. It's like one of those matches you put in a general manager mode for 2K and you're like, oh, John Cena versus Sheamus. Beyond that, I'm going to put Grande Americano as a wild card. Somebody's politicking for Grande Americano, dude. Grande Americano's been getting these ultimate spots. Allegedly, Ludwig, I would love to have that version of Grande Americano if I could, the taller Grande Americano. Just because it's a wild card. You know what? I'm going to put it as a dream. All right? It's my dream match. Okay? Why not? Just think of the fun. And if Rey Mysterio is not going to be around, somebody has to unmask Grande Americano. And why not there, right? If we're going to go for a fun haha pop at the end, sure. Ilya Dragunov. Now, Ilya is currently hurt. I'm going to put this as a wild card. It'd be a great way to reintroduce him. That'll be a crazy pop. It'd be a really good match. I think if John Cena, if it's one of those matches that he wants to put somebody over in a tough way and he beats Ilya, but Ilya was so close, maybe. And then we all go, dude, he gave John Cena his best final match. Maybe. Or if he beats John Cena, maybe. But I think we just all miss Ilya Dragunov and we miss his moveset. We miss his intensity, his presence. But it's just one of those things that I just feel like, ooh, so dicey. Ilya beats John Cena. Ooh, I don't know how people are going to respond to that. If Ilya loses to John Cena, it's like, okay, well, why do we waste this last match on something like Ilya Dragunov when we could have him at least have one of the matches he stops by. So now we got everybody set. Who do I think is going to be the final match for John Cena? You're looking at everybody. There's so many potentials, right? And I love the best that we have here. Bronbreaker, CM Punk, Dirty Dom, Drew, Jacob Fatu, Randy Orton. I think those are probably the top. And you look at the save picks, nothing really too exciting. There's no pizzazz in that. I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. I'm shooting for the moon. I think the only thing that helps, where did I leave Carmella? The only thing that helps Carmella Hayes is that it's in Boston. It's in Massachusetts. I think that would make a feel-good moment. I think John Cena passing a torch to Carmelo would be a nice situation, a good pick. But, dude, I am shooting for the moon here, right? If any of the ones that are here in the best category are it, sure. Randy Orton versus John Cena will sell tickets. John Cena versus Carmelo Hayes would create a strong future for the WWE. And Carmelo Hayes could definitely sell tickets. That's going to be very interesting. That's the question mark I would have. And it's a gamble, 100%. Don't get me wrong. I know that. But I still think it's probably one of the most interesting picks or scenarios that I don't think that many people are talking about. And you have to think about it. Why was John Cena absent from his Massachusetts and SmackDown in Boston, right? Why was he absent? I think it was just to give Carmelo Hayes a little bit of a spotlight. And then once they revisit that, I think this match could do wonders for Carmelo Hayes in the future of the WWE. Let me know who you think John Cena's going to be last opponent and why. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.